Unit 3, Activity 2, Solving Quadratic Functions. In Unit 1, we solve linear equations by using a combination of adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing both sides of the equation. In Unit 2, in order to solve exponential equations, we needed to learn a new technique, which is the logarithms. Now, with the quadratic equations, in Unit 3, we will need to yet another new method. Although we will study several techniques to solve quadratic equations, the main method that does not require technology is called the quadratic formula. In this activity, you will practice different techniques to solve quadratic equations. Learning outcomes. You will be able to explain why function values are or not reasonable in a given context, explain your methods for solutions to quadratic equations, and explain the meaning in context. Also, you will be able to solve quadratic equations using tables, graphs, and equations. And for skills, factor quadratics in order to solve equations, and use quadratic formula to solve equations. Okay, let's start with the warm-up and some skills review problems. Number 1, simplify the following by using the distributive property. A, 4x minus 3 times 2x plus 5. So let's distribute 4x first. 4x times 2x is 8x squared. 4x times 5 is 20x. Then let's distribute negative 3. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. And then combine like terms. 8x squared, 20x minus 6x is 14x minus 15. So that is the answer. Bx minus 5 times negative 2x squared plus x minus 4. First, let's distribute x. X times negative 2x squared is negative 2x cubed. Then x times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Then let's distribute negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 2x squared is negative times negative is positive 10. You can use the second line here. So that is plus 10x squared. Negative 5 times x, negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 4 is positive 20. Then combining like terms. Negative 2x cubed, 10 plus 1. 11x squared, negative 5x, negative 4x, negative 9x plus 20. 2x minus 7 squared, we can rewrite this as 2x minus 7 times 2x minus 7. Then we can now use distributive property. 2x times 2x is 4x squared, 2x times negative 7, negative 14x, same thing here, and negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. Then we can combine these two terms, so the final answer, 4x squared minus 28x plus 49. Okay, then number 2, factor or undistribute the following. Letter A, x squared minus 14x plus 24. To get the factors, first the first term, x squared, factors are x and x. And then the last term, 24, find two numbers when you multiply is positive 24 and when you add is negative 14. And yes, that is negative 2 and negative 12. Negative 2 times negative 12 is positive 24. Negative 2 plus negative 12 is negative 14. X squared minus 5x minus 6. So the two factors are x squared, factors are x and x, then negative 6. Find two numbers when you multiply is negative 6 and when you add is negative 5. So yes, that is negative 6 and positive 1. So you can try. Negative 6 times positive 1 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. And C, x squared minus x minus 12. factors of x squared, x and x, again negative 12. So find two numbers when you multiply is negative 12 and when you add is negative 1. Yes, that's negative 4 and positive 3. So you can check negative 4 times positive 3 is negative 12, negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So these are the answers for number 2. Now let's proceed to our class discussion. Is solving for x in quadratic equation. We will review 5 ways to solve a quadratic equation. The first one is quadratic formula. Number 2, using factoring, using a table, a graph, and a technology. Here are some notes on the 5 techniques listed for solving quadratic equation. Number 1 is the quadratic formula. That is a standard method to use to solve quadratic equations. It does not require technology and always successfully finds the correct solutions. The second one is factoring. It can be very quick if the quadratic expression can be easily factored. Unfortunately, very few quadratic expressions can be factored using integers. If table is provided or technology is utilized to create a table, this is a simple way to solve a quadratic equation. Unfortunately, in most circumstances, a table will not show a precise solution, so can only be used to find the approximate solution. And then number 4, if a graph is provided or technology is utilized to create a graph, this is a simple way to solve quadratic equation. Unfortunately, in most circumstances, a graph will not show a precise solution and so can only be used to find an approximate solution also. And number 5, technology can be used to find the precise solutions to any quadratic equation. However, depending on the technology, it may be more or less difficult to do so. Start with the first one, using the quadratic formula. Use the following 3 steps to solve with the quadratic formula. Number 1, use algebra to make the equation equal to 0. Then identify 3 values a, b, and c in the equation you are solving. Then use those 3 values in the formula shown below. And the quadratic formula is in general form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. And then this is, take note of this, our quadratic formula. X to solve for x, that is negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now let's try to solve the example 2x squared minus 3x plus 9 is equal to 18 using quadratic formula. First step, make the equation equal to 0. So we need to subtract 18 both sides. 2x squared minus 3x 9 minus 18 is negative 9 is equal to 0. Then identify a, b, and c. A is 2, b is negative 3, and c is negative 9. Then now substitute these values to our quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b, so negative of negative 3 plus minus square root of b squared, so we have negative 3 squared minus 4, a is 2 and c is negative 9 all over 2a, 2 times a, 2 times 2. Then let's simplify this. Negative negative is positive 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. Negative 4 times 2 times negative 9 is positive 72. All over 2 times 2 is 4. So 3 plus or minus square root of 9 plus 72 is 81 over 4. Square root of 81 is 9. So 3 plus or minus 9 over 4. And let's solve the two values of x. First one, 3 minus 9 over 4. That is negative 6 over 4, or negative 3 halves. The other one, 3 plus 9 over 4. 3 plus 9 is 12, divided by 4 is 3. So these are the answers. Right, next is using factoring. And use the following 3 steps to solve by factoring. Number 1, use algebra to make the equation equal to 0. Factor the equation. Note it is not always possible to factor an equation. And then set each factor equal to 0 and then solve for x. This last step is what we call the zero product property. The property, if the product of two numbers is 0, one of the numbers must equal to 0. Letter A, solve x squared minus 5x minus 6 is equal to 8 using factoring. The first step is make the equation equal to 0. So that's why we need to subtract 8 both sides. So that this is x squared minus 5x minus 14 is equal to 0. And get the factors. X squared, x and x. Find two numbers when you multiply is negative 14, and when you add is negative 5, that is negative 7 and positive 2. Then each factor set it equal to 0. So x minus 7 is equal to 0, x plus 2 is equal to 0, and then solve for x. So we need to add 7 here, so that x is equal to 7. Here we subtract 2 both sides, so that x is equal to negative 2. Next one, letter B, solve x squared is equal to x plus 12 using factoring. The first step, make the equation equal to 0. So let's subtract x and subtract 12 both sides, so that it will be x squared minus x minus 12 is equal to 0. Then find the factors. X squared, x and x, negative 12, negative 4, and positive 3. And then set each factor equal to 0. X minus 4 is equal to 0. X plus 3 is equal to 0, and then solve for x. So we need to add 4 here, so that x is equal to 4. The other one, we need to subtract 3 both sides, so that x is equal to negative 3. So these are the answers. Okay. Next, using a table. Shown below is a table for the function f of x equal to negative 16x squared plus 20x plus 6. So take a look at the table. You have the x and the f of x here. Letter A, solve negative 16x squared plus 20x plus 6 is equal to 0 using the table. But the given function, negative 16x squared plus 20x plus 6 is this one, right? And that's equal to f of x, so meaning 0 is your f of x. Look at the table, and you will see f of x. And we want, when f of x is 0, what is the x value? And there's another one here. F of x is 0 is 1.5. So the answer is negative 0.25 and x is equal to 1.5. Letter B, solve negative 16x squared plus 20x plus 6 is equal to 9. So this time your f of x is 9. But we don't have 9 in a given table, so we can approximate the answer. And let's locate where 9 is. So 9 is before 10, so we have 9 here and 9 here. What do you think is the value? 6 is 0, 10 is 0.25, so maybe we can say this is, let's say, 0.2. And here between 0.75 and oops, sorry, it should be here between 1.0 and 1.25, maybe 1.1. So it's just an approximation. So 0.2 and 1.1. That is by using a table. So we were able to locate 9 here, that's before 10, and 9 here, that is after 10. Next one, number 4, using a graph. Letter A, solve negative 16x squared plus 20x plus 6 is equal to negative 2 using the graph shown to the right. So look at here, negative 2. This is the given graph. All you have to do is take a look at negative 2 and find the x values that is on the graph. So here, if you want, you can draw a horizontal line here at negative 2. And the points on the graph are this. And what are the x values? Let's say this is negative 0.3, and let's say this is 1.6. So our answers, negative 0.3 and 1.6. B, solve negative 16x squared plus 20x plus 6 is equal to 6 using the graph shown to the right. So this time, this is 6, so we have to look at 6. So if you draw a horizontal line here, the points on the graph at 6, this point and this point. What are the x values? This one, the first one is 0, and here, so let's say this is like 1.3. So approximately 0 and 1.3. And the last one is by using technology. Following 3 steps to solve using technology, graph each side of the equation. That requires you to find an appropriate window that clearly shows where the two graphs intersect. Then use the intersect feature of your graphing utility where the two graphs meet, and then answer the question by finding and reporting the values of x. Now, let's solve negative 12x squared plus 25x plus 8 is equal to 20 using technology. And I'm going to use Desmos here. Okay, go to desmos.com. First step, graph each side of the equation. So the left side is, say, y equals negative 12x squared plus 25x plus 8. And the right side is 20, y equals 20. Now, to change the window settings, so click here, graph settings. So let's use let's say from negative 10 to 10 x-axis and our y-axis. Since our y is 20, for us to see that, maybe let's use from negative 5 to 25. So look at this. you can see now the graph. And where the two graphs intersect, the blue and the red, these two. So the solutions, the answers, the x values 0.75 and 1.333. Okay, let's go back to our notes. So remember, this is the given, negative 12x squared plus 25x plus 8 is equal to 20. Graph each side of the equation. So we did graph, the left side is y is equal to negative 12x squared plus 25x plus 8, and the right side, y is equal to 20. And then we saw that they intersect the two graphs. We know that this is quadratic and this is linear, and the two intersect at the values of x is equal to 0.75 and 1.33. We use the window for x from negative 10 to 10 and for y from negative 5 to 25. And so the point of intersection at 0.75 and 1.33, let's say here and here. The rough sketch of the graph. We have the parabola, the quadratic, and the linear, and they intersect here. That is when x is 0.75 and 1.33. Okay, and that's it for this section. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, thank you.